I'm Ray Chardy.
And I'm Colin Schaffner.
This is CR News.
And we're going to be doing a segment on mummification.
Hi, I'm Colin Schaffner, and today we have a special guest who was an embalmer from ancient Egypt. Please welcome him. Sit. Now tell me, what are all the steps to embalming?
To embalm the body, first, the embalmers take out the internal organs. The whole body is covered with nitron, which dries the body out.
Yeah.
Very important step. The body is then stuffed with dry materials such as sawdust and leaves to make it look lifelike. And then the head is wrapped in linen, and the arms and legs wrapped separately from the linen. The funerals help the person after embalming is over, and the body is placed in a coffin, which a coffin is placed in a large stone coffin called a sarcophagus. Furniture, clothing, and valuable objects are stuffed in the place where he's going to help him feel more lifelike.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in and helping us.
Thanks for your time.
This is Colin Schaffner. That was just all the steps in embalming.
That was a very informative interview by Colin Schaffner with the embalmer. Now we'll pass over to the History Man.
Thank you. During the Old Kingdom, mummification was only for the pharaohs. The pharaohs used to be put in tombs and pyramids with all their food and furniture. In 2600 BC, they began to practice mummification as a purposeful process. The Egyptians practiced mummification for nearly 2,000 years. That's a long time. In the beginning of mummification, process was very expensive, but over the years, as they had mummification, it became less expensive. Religion was very important because it ensured the body was ready for the afterlife. The pharaohs had special ceremonies for the afterlife.
Roll call!
Today's roll call is featuring North Florida Middle School in Goshen, Kentucky.
This roll call is calling out to Miss Rovatsos, 4th block. We thank you for watching, and we thank you for listening.
Today's question of the day is, when did the Egyptians start practicing mummification as a purposeful process?
Is it A, 2000 BC? Is it B, 2600 BC? Is it C, 3100 BC? Or is it D, 4800 BC? You have 10 seconds to answer. And that's our question of the day.
The answer was B. 2600 BC is when they started practicing mummification as a purposeful process.
For those of you that got our question right, thank you for watching. It shows that you've been paying attention. Now, here's our science man.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Egyptians believed that a mummified body gave a place for a person's spirit. The Egyptians believed that the heart would be vital in their afterlife, so they kept the heart in the body. The brain was usually taken out of the body, but sometimes later mummification was left in. A salt-like substance was put on the body over time and moisturized the body. The lungs, stomach, intestines, and liver were left put in 4 jars. 4 jars represented the 4 sons of Horus.
And that was our science man.
Another special guest coming in to talk about how mummification differs from a king to a regular person in ancient Egypt. Please welcome him.
Thank you for having me.
Sit.
Thank you.
So tell me, how did it differ from kings and regular people in mummification in ancient Egypt?
Well, for the kings, they brought furniture and decorated chests and other things down to where they would have to bury. For King Tut's, he was in a golden coffin, and above that was another golden coffin to make sure he stayed safe.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The kings are buried in 3 different places. King Tut's had a whole tomb for himself and had burial chambers and treasury. Fake guards were made to guard the burial chambers, but they were just for show. Many treasures like statues were in the tombs.
This is Riggs Hardy.
I'm Colin Schaffner.
This is CR News. We're going to do a conversation about mummies in ancient Egypt.
So, Riggs, can you tell me some of your favorite mummies?
Some of my favorite mummies are Ginger, Thaban, and Catabet. What are your some favorite mummies?
Well, some of my favorite mummies are Hornjatite and Ankef.
Ginger was one of the oldest mummies ever found. He had red hair and was a peasant in ancient Egypt. He also lived very old for his age. Can you tell me something about Ankef?
Yes, well, Ankef was in the Middle Kingdom and a government official. He lived and worked in Osaka. So, can you tell me a little bit about Catabet?
Catabet was a wealthy woman and lived about 1300 BC. Can you tell me something about Hornjite?
Yes, Hornjite was a priest of all men. Can you tell me a little bit about the Bon?
The Bon was a noble woman and she was very important in ancient Egypt.